Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you turn to when you want to cut through all the noise, synthesize those crucial sources, and really uncover the insights you can actually use. And today, we're diving into something pretty fundamental, affects basically everything we do, the science behind habits. Yeah, so our mission here for this deep dive is to take all this stuff you've sent us, articles, research notes, you name it, on building habits, breaking habits, all of that, and really distill it down, get to the core takeaways. We want to help you understand not just what habits are, but how you can consciously use your brain's own tendency to automate things for real growth, hitting those big goals you've set. It's kind of moving past just gritting your teeth with willpower and more into intelligently designing your behavior. Okay, so let's kick things off with a foundation, because it seems like almost everyone, behavioral scientists, productivity folks, they all point back to this core idea, the habit loop. It sounds foundational, sure, but what are the really critical parts of this loop? What makes it the actual blueprint for changing behavior?
It really is fascinating, isn't it? How this loop concept just pops up everywhere in the sources. You look at James Clear's stuff, Atomic Habits, or Nir Eyl's Hook model, they all land on this idea that habits aren't just, random.
Yeah.
They're a cycle, usually, 3 or maybe 4 key parts. So first up, you've got the trigger, or you could call it a cue. Basically, it's the signal. It tells your brain, okay, time to do that thing. Could be external, like seeing your gym bag by the door, or internal, maybe an emotion, like feeling bored or stressed out. It's the prompt.
Right, the little nudge.
Exactly. And then comes the action, the routine, the behavior, whatever you want to call it. It's the habit itself, what you actually do because of that trigger. And then, this is really key, the reward. Now, this isn't just like getting a gold star. It's the positive feeling, the satisfaction, maybe relief from a craving. It's what your brain gets out of it. And that reward is absolutely critical because it reinforces everything. It strengthens that neural connection, making you way more likely to do it again next time the trigger pops up. It's literally programming.
Programming, okay.
Yeah. And this is where some models, Nir Eyl's especially, bring in a fourth bit, investment.
Investment. How does that fit in?
Well, it's any kind of effort or time or even data you put into the habit. Like maybe you spend time making the perfect workout playlist, or you log your progress in an app, or tell a friend about your goal. This little bit of investment, it builds commitment, makes you more likely to stick with it because, hey, you've already put something in. It subtly bumps up how much you value that habit.
Huh. That investment piece.
Yeah.
I like that. It's not just about the immediate buzz of the reward. It feels more like you're, building something, actively constructing it. So we've got the trigger, the action, the reward, and maybe this investment piece. Understanding those gears, what does that actually mean for building habits we want, habits we're aiming for? It sounds like the best bet is often starting really, really small and just being consistent.
Precisely.
Yeah,
that's where it gets practical. This whole art of starting small and being consistent, it's all about setting things up so you don't need a ton of willpower. Because we all know willpower runs out, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
So the first strategy, and it feels kind of backwards sometimes, is to start incredibly small. Like, forget the big, ambitious goal for a second. Start with something so tiny it feels almost silly not to do it. You want to exercise more. Don't commit to an hour at the gym right away. Commit to just, say, putting on your workout clothes.
Right.
Or doing 5 push-ups.
Push-ups, okay.
It builds that initial momentum, gets you past that initial resistance your brain throws up against big effort. It's like a tiny investment you can't really refuse.
Right, lowers the barrier to entry.
Totally. Then, okay, you need to identify a specific goal, make it clear, something you can actually achieve, and something you can repeat, ideally daily. And then a really powerful technique is habit stacking.
Habit stacking, I've heard that term.
Yeah, it's basically piggybacking. You link your new desired habit onto a routine you already have down pat. The old habit becomes the trigger for the new one. So it's not just, I should meditate more. It's, after I make my coffee every morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. See? The coffee is the trigger.
Okay. That makes sense. Leverage existing momentum.
Exactly. And to make it even smoother, you want to make it obvious. Like, design your environment so the cue for the good habit is right there. Want to read more? Okay, put the book on your pillow. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle on your desk, always visible. You also need to make it attractive.
Attractive? How do you make, flossing attractive?
Good question. Well, maybe you pair it with something you enjoy, like you only listen to your favorite podcast while you're doing your morning walk, or you focus on the feeling of accomplishment afterwards. Associate it with positive things.
Gotcha. Link it to pleasure.
Yes. And fundamentally, make it easy. Reduce the friction. Any step, any barrier between you and doing the habit. Get rid of it if you can. Less effort means more likely. And then, back to that crucial part, make it rewarding. You need that positive feedback, preferably right away. It could be small, a healthy treat, checking off a box, even just mentally patting yourself on the back. That immediate hit reinforces the loop.
So it's really about engineering the whole cycle.
Absolutely. And related to that reward is tracking your progress. Seeing that chain of X's on a calendar or the graph in your app, it's motivating. It's visual proof of your consistency, another form of investment, really. But also, remember to be patient and consistent. This stuff takes time. That 66-day average you hear about, it varies wildly. Some habits click faster, some take way longer.
Right. Don't get discouraged by one missed day.
Exactly. Slip-ups happen. The key is just getting back to it the next day or even the next opportunity. Focus on the trend, not perfection. And finally, don't be afraid to adjust as needed. If something isn't working, look at the loop. Is the trigger wrong? Is it too hard? Not rewarding enough? Tweak it.
Okay, looking at all those strategies together, what really jumps out is how deliberate it all is. You're essentially hacking the loop, right? Tweaking the trigger, simplifying the action, boosting the reward. Makes it feel less like fighting yourself and more like, well, like smart design. But then there's the flip side, those habits we really don't want, the ones that feel automatic, baked in. How do we use this same kind of thinking to take those apart?
Yeah, that's where the disruption comes in. Breaking bad habits, it's not just about stopping cold turkey usually. It's about actively interrupting that ingrained loop and ideally replacing the unwanted thing with something better.
So where do you start with that?
First step, absolutely critical. Identify the triggers. You have to become like a detective about your own behavior. When does this bad habit usually happen? Where are you? How are you feeling? Stressed, bored? Who are you with? Without knowing what kicks it off, you're kind of just guessing.
Right. Awareness first.
Awareness first. Then, and this is huge, try to understand the underlying cause or reward. What is that bad habit actually doing for you? What need is it meeting? Because often it's meeting a real need, just in a lousy way.
Like stress eating, maybe?
Perfect example. The need isn't really for the chips, right? It's for stress relief. So once you figure that out, you can ask, okay, what's a healthier way to get that same relief? Maybe it's a quick walk, some deep breaths, calling a friend, something else that satisfies that underlying craving.
Finding a better substitute for the reward.
Exactly. Now, to actively break the loop, you apply the inverse of making good habits easy. You want to make the bad habit invisible. Get the triggers out of sight, out of mind. If junk food is the problem, don't keep it in the house. If mindless scrolling is it, maybe put your phone in another room at night. Delete the tempting apps.
Increase the friction for the bad stuff.
You got it. And also, make it unattractive. Really focus on the downsides. Mentally connect the habit with its negative consequences. Remind yourself why you want to stop. How does it clash with your goals, your values?
Okay, so you're kind of associating pain with it, mentally.
Right. And physically, make it difficult. Create actual barriers. Maybe you put the TV remote in a drawer in another room. Maybe you install an app blocker with a timer you can't easily override. Some people use commitment devices like having to put money in a jar every time they slip up.
Adding a cost.
Adding a cost, yeah. And then the replacement strategy. Replace the bad habit with a positive one. This is often more effective than just trying not to do something. Actively choose a better behavior that gives a similar benefit or distracts you. So if you reach for your phone when you're bored, maybe you decide, okay, instead I'll pick up that book or I'll do 5 minutes of stretching. You're consciously redirecting that impulse.
Rerouting the pathway.
That's a good way to put it. And don't underestimate enlisting support. Tell people, friends, family, maybe a support group. That accountability, just knowing someone else knows what you're trying to do, can be a really powerful motivator. It's another form of positive investment.
Yeah, adds a layer of social pressure in a good way.
It can, yeah. And alongside all this, practice mindfulness and self-compassion. Learn to just notice the urge when it comes up without immediately acting on it or judging yourself for having it. And understand, slip-ups will probably happen. The goal isn't perfection. It's getting back on track quickly. Beating yourself up just makes it worse. That self-compassion piece is vital for long-term change. It's an investment in your resilience.
Don't let one slip turn into a slide.
Exactly. And finally, 2 more things. Visualize success. Actually picture yourself resisting the urge, doing the good behavior instead. It sounds a bit cheesy maybe, but it does help prime your brain. And plan for obstacles. Think ahead. What situations usually trip you up? If you know Friday nights are tough for sticking to your diet, have a plan before Friday night arrives. What will you do instead? Having a strategy ready makes a huge difference. You know, if you zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture. It's really all about taking conscious control. reclaiming agency over those automatic default settings that can end up running our lives if we let them.
Conscious reclamation, intelligent design over just like brute force willpower. I really like that framing. It feels so much more empowering, doesn't it? By getting a handle on these mechanics, the triggers, actions, rewards, and that investment piece too, you really do get the tools to consciously shape your own behavior. And like you said, it's not about being perfect all the time. It's about being strategic, being intentional, and the potential impact that can have. Well, it's huge, leading a more fulfilling life, a more successful life, by deliberately building the actions that make it up. Okay, so wrapping this up, thinking about everything we've just unpacked, here's something for you to consider. What's one tiny habit, like almost laughably small, that you could either start building or maybe start disrupting starting this week? Something small, but that you suspect might have the biggest, maybe even surprising, ripple effect across your whole day, your whole routine. Just something to think about.